I'm Madhumita Saha and a vocal singer, classical. Sumitra ji is my guru, and I am very fortunate, so I'm going to get her interview today for TV Asia. So my first question is, from which age you started your musical journey?
You all have to believe my mother, because it was very authentic when she said, I was about 1.5 years old when she just started singing something. Like that. I just repeated that humming. So according to me, she says, that was the first I started singing. And then at the age of 4, I started singing, learning from my mother. So my mother, Srimati Rajalakshmi Raju, was my first guru.
You started learning South Indian classical music, no? From your mom? Carnatic music. Okay, so how long you have learned?
I have learned a couple of years from my mother. And then I have learned violin from Master Subbarayudu. He was a good violinist in those days. And then again I started learning vocal from Sangeet Vidwan Sri Janaki Raman. I am from Andhra Pradesh. I am from Temple Town, Tirupati. So naturally I started learning Carnatic music. And then when I was a student in Shantiniketan, I first heard Hindustani classical music, Hindustani classical concert by great Nazakat Ali Khan, Salamat Ali Khan. And I first heard Rag Kalavati. This Rag Kalavati I knew of one Tyagaraja Kruti long back. I used to sing within 4 or 5 minutes, finish. But same Kalavati I heard 1 hour, both the brothers. And beautifully, that was like, I just can't tell you how I liked. And then I must say the deep meditative mood of Hindustani classical music, that attracted me. In Hindustani classical music, first, they emphasize the slow portion, Vilambit portion, then the middle tempo, then fast. So all the characteristics of music, meditation, entertainment, according to me, everything is there. With due respects to my own Carnatic music, it starts with middle tempo, and that part of it was missing, according to me. So it attracted me, and then I liked. Immediately I decided after hearing their concert. And second day I heard my gurus, Pandit A. Kanan and Vidushi Malavika Kanan. They also sang beautifully. Then third day I went to them and I said, I want to learn music from you. Then they said, you are a student now in Shantiniketan. Later on, when you come to Calcutta, we'll teach you. I finished my graduation, and then just before finishing my graduation, I got married to a Bengali gentleman, and then I had to come to Calcutta. So everything same time, marriage, music, everything, it happened same time. Well, I have few disciples because we have this wonderful system of Guru Shishya Parampara. We don't believe in teaching many because we put our mind and soul into it when we impart the knowledge of music. So we give individual attention and then teach. It's not in group. So It's not possible to have many disciples, so I have very few disciples. So, what is in a number? I have good disciples like you, like Madhumita Saha here, one, and a few more, and another in Samia Mehboob Ahmed in DC. She's learning from me for the last 15 years. And another disciple, Srimati Malavika Mandal, Sri Arundhati Bhattacharya, and there are few. And Dr. Indira, recently she has become a disciple of mine, very sincere and dedicated. So all these disciples are very loyal and dedicated and hardworking. A few months back, I had a concert in Bombay. I forgot to mention about another disciple. She's Reena Mathur. She's also a very dedicated and hardworking, talented student of mine. I was staying with her and she took me to Pandit Arvind Parikh. He invited me for tea because he couldn't come to my concert due to his some health problems. He put me the same question, Sumitra ji, what are the, no, not to me, to my student, he put the same question, what are the qualifications of a guru? What a good guru must have qualities. He put this question to Reena. Reena felt awkward. What to talk because her guru was sitting behind her. She's a little shy type of girl also. She said, Panditji, I think my guru has all the qualities. And then he said, no, beta, there are some qualities you must tell. So then she said, मैंने कहा ना आपको, my guru has all the qualities, so I am learning from her since many years. Then in return, he asked me, Sumitra ji, you please tell me what are the qualifications a disciple must have. Then I said, Pandit ji, you know, he's 86 plus, a great scholar in sitar, disciple of Vilayat Khan Sahab, and then musicologist, a great personality in Hindustani classical music. I told him, Pandit ji, you are senior to me and you are great in all respects and your experience matters to us. You please tell us. Then he said, Guru must have, first of all, he must have the knowledge to teach his or her disciple. And if he is an artist, it's like Sone Me Suhaga. It's very nice if he or she is an artist. And then he or she must impart the knowledge with a love, as if he or she is imparting the knowledge to her son or daughter. And when she or he attains a standard, then either Guru should encourage her, recommend her to others, or he or she should give a stage to her. These few things Guru must have. Then Reena said, you know, our Guru Ma does all these things. I said, okay. And then I requested him, then what are the qualifications a disciple must have? Tell me. Though I have good disciples, I just would like to ask you. He said, Sumitra ji, first of all, a disciple must be loyal to her guru. Because in our country, this Hindustani classical music system, any classical music system, the guru is like spiritual guru. He is imparting the knowledge, whole life, whatever he has learned, he is imparting this valuable knowledge. Just like he gives his property to his children, it is his own property which he earned through hard practice and all these things. He is giving to the disciple. So the disciple should be very loyal. That is the number one quality. Then he should be hardworking, dedicated, Then last comes the talent. It has come from, though it has come from Samaveda, but this is with us since time immemorial. Right from the Om primordial sound, this music. And you know, Shiva, this has come. It goes, when you go to the Vedas, or even before Vedas, they say the first raga of the universe, called Bhairav, it has originated from Lord Shiva. And 4 other ragas, Kalyani and all. And then the 6th raga created by Mother Goddess Malkons, that is what you call in Karnataka Hindolam. So we have got this spiritual history, mythology. So it is spiritual. Our music is spiritual. It was associated with gods and goddesses. And then in turn, gods and goddesses, they taught this sacred music to Rishi Munis. And then the Rishi Munis taught the disciples. That's how it's coming up. So we have to keep up the sanctity of the system. Sanctity of the system. Like you have got religious institutions. They are keeping up. World is becoming so much modern, but they are not concerned. Adi Shankaracharya, he is handed over to another worthy disciple who is able to, who can maintain all his knowledge. Like that, this system is also coming like that. So we cannot dilute it. What schools and colleges, what's happening? 40 students, 50 students. Just giving you the knowledge, basic knowledge of it. But that's not the actual knowledge. For example, 2 hours I'm teaching her, one raga. She is an individual who has got the dedication and talent and everything. So I found her, she's deserving. So I'm giving so much time to her. But in schools and colleges, what happens? Like that, workshops I'm also doing. Just teaching one melody, what I'm teaching her, hours and hours together. Just in 1 hour, I'm teaching the whole melody. Just giving them the introduction and the picture of a raga. Because why? I want that they must have the capability to understand our music. Otherwise, it will finish with few. I want this music should reach common man. That's why I conduct workshops. I go to the universities. I explain to them about our music. But the real knowledge, the Shishya learns from a guru. I got this knowledge by sitting, by touching their feet and sitting close to their feet. I got this knowledge. Many, many years I have learned from them. So this is precious and sacred knowledge. I think we should maintain the sanctity of this. Actually, the reason we call guru and Shishya, we never say teacher and student. Teacher and student is in schools and colleges. But real knowledge, when it comes to real knowledge, we say guru. Who is your guru? Who is your Shishya? We call it disciple, not student. As I said, my husband was very cooperative. Though my mother-in-law was not very keen, and rather she liked the idea more if I pursue higher studies. Though he was very tactful and intelligent. Sometimes he used to manage. He used to say, he used to go to his mother and say, Amma, you see, she doesn't ask you any questions. She doesn't ask me any question. Even she never bothered about how much money I'm earning. Nowadays, girls' first question they ask you. And she never bothers about anything. She is only happy if she can practice. So if I don't give her that much, she is happy if I give her some gifts, but she is not keen. She never asks me, give me this, give me that, we'll go there, we'll go to picture. Nothing she asks. She is happy only if she can practice. So if I don't give her that much liberty, then she'll become mad. Would you like to have a mad daughter-in-law? She used to say. And again, he used to come and tell me, you see, you are educated in Shantiniketan. You come from a cultured family. You have to adjust. They are now quite aged. They don't have that background. So, you being young, you must adjust. So, like that, he used to, like Narada Mahamuni, he used to he used to satisfy there. So that was possible. And I never, I never thought that my kids are neglected, because when in class 4, my eldest son was in class 4, my husband told him, look, you are growing up now, you are in class 4, you should be responsible for your studies, and your mother will give you everything you need, food, clothes, everything, whatever you need, you tell your mother, you tell me, but give her time to practice. Don't be all the time besides her, and don't disturb her when she practices. So he used to. So now also my sons, they are very busy in their learning, but still they want their mother should go ahead and should do concerts. They would never like the idea that now my mother should stop or mother should take rest. No. They encourage me, and especially my youngest son. He helps me in my international projects. You have seen last Gondwana Dawn. It was all, he was behind, but the greatness of my younger son is he never wants to be in limelight. He said, Mommy, don't tell anybody. So he coordinated and he helped me a lot. Robin likes him like anything. My father had an ambition of studying in Shantiniketan because he saw Annie Besant, Tagore and Surendranath Banerjee in Theosophical High School when he was a kid. And then still, in Madanapalli Theosophical High School, Tagore's Janaganamana, he wrote there, and it is still lying there in school. So he had a liking for Shantiniketan. He wanted to study. As he could not, so he wanted that I should fulfill his ambition. But when I went to Shantiniketan, the seats in music department were filled up. There was no vacancy. So we had to see Vice Chancellor about my music, this thing. He asked me to sing one song. I sang one Jaydev Ashtapadi. Then he said, now I can't change the rules because seats are already filled up. What is your next choice? I said, then next choice, because I was, as I said, I had a seat in Vizag Medical College. I was to go to this medical studies. That couldn't happen. Now, because of my father and mother, the spiritual background, the next choice was philosophy. So I said philosophy. Then he said, please go ahead with the philosophy honors, and you can still learn Tagore music here. There were stalwarts like Shantidev Ghosh, Kanika Banerjee, who had natural liking for me, and they used to call me and give me this rasagullas and shingada, and then teach me a few songs, So I learned a couple of songs from them and Tagore music. But it was all destiny, I say. I believe you have to work hard, but still you have to believe in your destiny. This music conference happened. After a few months, I heard Hindustani music for the first time. I liked, and then I decided. Then rest was history.
What information you give to the new generation?
There is a will, there is a way. If you want to become anything, why music? Whatever you want to become. Have positive thoughts, work hard, believe in our culture, believe in our ideals, believe in God, whatever name, whatever form you choose, and then don't look back, because you have to develop a strong will and anything, everything, and God helps those who help themselves. So that's my message for young generation. But don't forget about your roots. You belong to, especially Indian girls and boys, I say. You belong to a country where the Almighty, that is the only country where the Almighty comes in human form. Incarnations, what you call. In other countries, Almighty sends His messengers. But this is the only country, Aryavarta Punya Bhumi, we call. So this is the only country where Almighty descends in human form and teaches us now and then what we have to be. So young generations should not forget our roots, and they have to develop their strong will and work hard, and there is always a way. As a student of philosophy, it's not contradictory, it's complement each other. Because, if I would have been an obstinate child, I would have pursued music, then you wouldn't have met me as a musician. I would have become probably a doctor, but I don't think I would have been happy. I would have been always, now I don't regret, because my son is a doctor now. I don't regret. And I just thought of becoming doctor because my friends were becoming. My friends were going. That was not my original choice. These obsessions come and go. These obsessions come and go. In my childhood, I also wanted to become a Bharatanatyam dancer. I started learning Bharatanatyam. Then my father said, be master of one, don't be jack of all. So like that, obsessions come in anybody's life, come and go. But only one ambition one can follow in this thing. As you said, destiny, because, we believe in karma theory, right? We believe in karma theory. Without knowing, or knowingly and unknowingly, we do so many things. But we have to suffer this, we have to face the consequence, whether it is good or bad. So these consequences are with us. We don't know what we have done in the past. So that's why I say we believe in destiny, because the Almighty has already designed for you what you are going to become. But with your, even Swami Vivekananda says, if you develop a strong willpower, and then if you work hard, even if you can change your destiny.
In this age of music, everything is going on e-basis. Like people are taking classes on Skype, or they have their own musical school. It's my pleasure to see you who goes to student and teach personally.
Learning from me online. But when I'm here, she's learning from me. When I'm here, she's learning from me properly. When she goes there, she comes to me in India. Likewise, my other student also, she's also learning under Skype, but she was a Skype. She was in India for 5 years. She learned from me. All said and done, this is Gurumukhi Vidya. Gurumukhi Vidya. You have to learn personally from Guru. These are all good. In fact, I salute to modern technology. These are all very good, but every time it's not possible. But you should utilize maximum. You should learn from a guru if you are a serious musician. Otherwise, just knowledge, this e-media and all these things, online classes are very good, because they have already learned from me. It's easy for them to grasp. For beginners, I don't think it's a good idea, online classes. They must learn first from a guru, and then they switch over to online classes. Then that will be wonderful. So modern technology, it has got its own advantage. When I am on the stage, it's the grace of Lord which makes me sing. I always feel. And when the grace is there, I have a beautiful feeling. I am singing for the Lord, and the whole I see my favorite God, and then the whole atmosphere becomes a celestial place for me, including the audience. So it gives, then I transcend usually, if I have everything, mic and everything. And it gives me a good feeling. And I myself don't know what I'm singing. Sometimes I even, That's why, it's very difficult for me to take my disciples and sing, because it has to pre-plan what she sings, what I sing. But when I sing, I want to encourage my disciples by keeping besides. Because sometimes, some ideas come to me and then I start singing. Then they will not be able to follow those ideas. It's all happens when you have that grace. Sometimes if I don't have the grace, I can't sing.
There is one point after some time that a person has learned all the ragas, all the tal, and they are fully equipped with all they need. How would you recommend, what would be your suggestion to them for their practicing? Because, of course,
It differs from student to student. Each has, different capacity, different grasping power, different background, and different quality of voice. For example, yesterday 2 girls sang. Both sang beautifully. One girl has little heavy voice, one girls have little thin voice, but both were excellent. If I would have been in the position, I would have given prizes to both. I don't know what you people did. So I didn't make it a tie. I gave them the both numbers. So like that, it differs from disciple to disciple, depending upon their quality of voice, their mental, their background, their tenacity, everything. Because when I teach, as I said, hours and hours together, I am teaching a person, I know what her personality is. Accordingly, I advise.
there are 7 sur in Sangeet, Sa Re Ga Ma Pa Dha Ni Sa, and today one thing what I learned is all these 7 are different. They work like 7 auras of your body, and they inspire you all the way from the universe to the one atom of the universe, and vice versa. Music has a power to enhance a personality, to inspire a life, and one life is not enough, and 1 minute is much than enough.
It's a pleasure talking and participating and sharing my ideas in TV Asia. So I must thank both Gauri Garu and Supriya Garu for their wonderful hospitality, and God bless TV Asia, and God bless you and your family.